The stars outside the bridge window looked peaceful, like silver dust scattered across black silk. But inside the Odyssey, there was no peace. Red lights flashed on every wall, sirens screamed in the corridors, and the deep hum of the ship's engine sounded strained, like a heartbeat about to fail. Captain Ria Vega stood in the center of the bridge, her hands gripping the command rail. Her jaw was tight, her voice low but firm. "Report," she said. The young navigation officer's fingers flew over his console. "Multiple Kreth warships in pursuit. 5 minutes until they enter firing range." A murmur spread among the crew. Everyone knew what that meant. No human ship had ever outrun the Kreth once they were in range. From the weapon station, Lieutenant Soren spoke without looking up. "Shields are at 40%. We can't take another direct hit." Ria's eyes swept across the bridge. The crew's faces were pale, some covered in sweat. They had been running for days, dodging traps and ambushes, losing ships one by one. Out here, in the cold dark of space, there was nowhere to hide. The comms officer turned from his station. "Captain, incoming transmission from Admiral Keene." "Put him on," Ria ordered. The Admiral's image appeared on the large holo display. His uniform was torn, smoke drifting in the background behind him. His voice was hoarse. "Ria, the fleet is gone. All of them. We couldn't hold Orion 9. They burned the planet." A silence heavier than space itself filled the bridge. Ria's fingers tightened on the rail. "What about reinforcements?" Keene shook his head slowly. "There are none. It's just you now. You have to make it back to Seoul. Protect what's left." Before Ria could reply, the image flickered. A flash of light lit up the holoscreen. Then nothing but static. The comms officer swallowed. Signal lost. No one spoke. Everyone knew what they had just seen. The Defiant, the Admiral's flagship, had been destroyed. "Navigation," Ria said finally, her voice sharp. "Set course for Seoul. Maximum speed. Aye, Captain." The Odyssey turned, engines roaring. But the Kreth followed like wolves, smelling blood. In the crew quarters, Soren moved quickly, strapping on his combat harness. Ria joined him, and for a moment, the two stood face to face in the dim light. "They won't stop, will they?" Soren asked quietly. Ria shook her head. "No, not until every human world is ash." He hesitated. "Then we have to stop them first." Ria's eyes narrowed. "I know. That's why we're going to do something they won't expect." Hours later, the Odyssey slipped into the asteroid belt of the Vega system. Jagged rocks drifted in the blackness, some the size of mountains. It was the perfect place to vanish, or to set a trap. Ria stood at the center of the bridge again. "All hands, prepare for silent running. Kill all active scans, drop heat signature to minimum." The ship went dark. Even the usual engine hum faded. The Odyssey became a shadow among shadows. From the darkness, the Kreth fleet approached. Their ships were ugly things, all sharp edges and burning red lights, like beasts forged from metal and hate. "They're scanning," Soren whispered. "Hold position," Ria replied. The lead Kreth warship slowed, its weapons turning like a predator sniffing the air. For a moment, it seemed the trap wouldn't work. Then, one by one, the alien ships drifted past. Searching deeper into the belt, the crew let out quiet breaths of relief. But too soon, a sharp beep cut through the silence. The navigation officer's face went pale. "One Kreth destroyer. Turning back. They found us." The dark bridge exploded into light and sound as Ria barked, "Shields up! All weapons, fire!" The Odyssey roared to life. Blue plasma bolts streaked into the void, smashing into the destroyer's hull. The alien ship answered with a blast that shook the Odyssey from bow to stern. Down in engineering, Chief Alara fought to keep the systems online. Sparks rained from overhead panels. "We're losing power to the main guns." She shouted over comms. "Divert everything to the engines," Ria ordered. "We can't win this fight. We run." The Odyssey shot forward, weaving between massive asteroids as the Kreth ship pursued. "They're gaining on us," Soren warned. Rhea stared at the forward display. Her mind raced. Then she saw it, a massive asteroid with a fractured core, glowing faintly from internal heat. She pointed. "Set course for that rock. On my mark, brake left at full thrust." The navigation officer frowned. "Captain, if we misjudge, we won't," she cut in. "Mark!" The Odyssey shot toward the asteroid. At the last moment, it veered sharply, engines blazing. The Kreth destroyer, too large to turn in time, smashed straight into the unstable asteroid. The collision tore the rock apart in a blinding explosion. Fire and debris filled the void, swallowing the Kreth ship whole. Cheers erupted on the bridge, but Rhea didn't smile. She knew this was only one enemy among many. Later, as the crew repaired the damage, Rhea stood alone by the observation deck. The stars stretched endlessly before her. She could almost hear the silence whisper, "They will come again." Soren joined her. "We made it out. This time." Rhea's gaze stayed on the dark horizon. "This time, yes. But the Kreth won't stop. And next time, they won't just be hunting us. They'll come for Earth itself." Soren was quiet for a moment. "Then we need to hit them first." She turned to him, her eyes like steel. "We will. I have a plan. But it's not something the Council will approve." "What kind of plan?" "One that ends the Kreth forever." The two stood in silence, watching the distant stars. Somewhere out there, the Kreth were regrouping. And somewhere deep inside Rhea, a decision had already been made, one that would change the fate of the galaxy. The council chamber was quiet except for the soft hum of machines and the distant chatter of diplomats from other systems. Humans had waited years for this moment, the first real contact with the Kreth species. It was supposed to be peaceful. A chance to talk, share, and maybe avoid war. Commander Rhea Vega stood at the front, watching the large holographic table flicker between human and Kreth leaders. The Kreth were tall and thin, with sharp, angular faces and cold eyes that seemed to pierce right through her. Their leader, Zalcor, spoke slowly but with a sharp edge. "We offer peace," Rhea said clearly. "We want to share knowledge, trade, and find ways to live together." Zalcor's voice was calm but carried a hidden threat. "Peace is for the weak. We see humans as a danger, a growing force that will one day destroy us all." Rhea's jaw tightened. "We have no interest in fighting. Let us work together." Zalcor's eyes narrowed. "You speak lies. Your fleets grow too fast. Your weapons become too strong. We cannot wait for the day you attack first." Suddenly, alarms blared through the chamber. The Kreth guards moved faster than anyone expected, weapons raised toward. "The human diplomats, what is this?" Rhea shouted, but it was too late. Plasma blasts exploded, tearing through the room. Screams filled the air. Rhea ducked behind a pillar, heart pounding. She watched as several human delegates fell, their bodies crumpling to the floor. "Retreat! Retreat!" Rhea ordered, her voice sharp. She saw Zalcor step forward, a cruel smile crossing his face. "This is not war, humans. This is survival. We end you now, before you end us." Rhea grabbed her communit. "Odyssey, this is Vega. Emergency evacuation now. Get us out of here." Her ship's engines roared to life as she sprinted toward the exit. Behind her, chaos spread like wildfire. Back on the Odyssey, Rhea paced the bridge, sweat dripping from her brow. "How many survivors?" Lieutenant Soren's voice was grim. 50 out of 200 diplomats made it to the escape pods. Those were the best we had. What message are we sending to the fleet? "We send a message of war," Soren said softly. "The Kreth have declared it." Rhea clenched her fists. "Then we prepare. We can't let them think we're weak." The news spread quickly. Every human colony and outpost received the report of the betrayal. People watched live feeds of the destroyed council chamber. The broken peace talks. In the crowded streets of New Terra, families gathered around screens, eyes wide with shock and fear. A young woman named Mira held her child close. Why would they do this? Why kill when we offered friendship? An older man beside her shook his head. Because they fear us. Because they know we grow strong. Meanwhile, on the Kreth homeworld, Zalkor stood before his council, their faces unreadable. We struck first because it was necessary, he said. Humans grow fast. Their ambition will destroy us if we wait. A council member hissed, but the humans will retaliate. This could spark a war that ends us all. Zalkor's eyes burned with cold fire. Then we fight, and we win. In the following days, human fleets began to mobilize. Ships that were once tools for exploration and trade were now weapons of war. Rhea stood on the deck of the Odyssey, looking out at the stars. They think this will break us. They don't understand what humans are. Soren joined her. We've lost a lot already. But we've also gained something, Rhea said. A reason to fight. A reason to survive. But the Kreth were not done. Late one night, the Odyssey received a secret message. It was encrypted and coded with the signature of a Kreth scientist. Named Var. Captain Vega, the message began. There is a way to stop this madness. Not all Kreth agree with war. Meet me on Orion 9. Come alone. Rhea stared at the screen. A chance for peace or a trap? She turned to Soren. What do you think? He shrugged. If it's a trap, we'll be ready. If not, maybe we can end this before more blood is spilled. Rhea nodded slowly. Prepare a stealth shuttle. We leave at dawn. As the Odyssey moved toward Orion 9, the crew worked quietly. No one spoke much about what they hoped or feared would happen. Rhea couldn't shake the feeling that this was only the beginning. That behind every shadow, a new threat waited. And that the war for humanity's survival was just starting. The news came like a thunderclap across the human worlds. The Kreth attacks were spreading faster than anyone had expected. Entire colonies were lost, one after another, swallowed by fire and destruction, on the crowded streets of Earth's capital. City, New Terra, people gathered around holoscreens, watching live reports of devastation. Buildings burned on distant planets, refugees poured into spaceports, and families were torn apart. Mira stood in the crowd, her hand shaking as she held the hand of a young boy. How can they keep doing this? She whispered. A nearby man shook his head, voice low and angry. They want to break us, to make us give up. But the government's leaders had a different problem. Inside the Galactic Council chambers, debate raged. Counselor Arlen slammed his fist on the table. We must help Earth. We have the ships, the power. Counselor Vex from another system sneered. And risk war spreading across the galaxy. No. The humans brought this on themselves. Arlen's face grew red. They were attacked first. We have a duty to protect them. The council remained divided. Supplies and reinforcements trickled in too late, often stuck in endless politics and red tape. On the Odyssey, Captain Rhea Vega watched the chaos unfold with a heavy heart. We're losing ground, she told Lieutenant Soren. He looked at the maps flashing on the screens. The Kreth cut supply lines, destroy communication satellites. We're isolated. Isolation means death in this war, Rhea said grimly. Suddenly, the comms officer's voice broke through. Captain, an urgent transmission from New Terra. Rhea activated the feed. The face of President Halden appeared, tired and worried. Captain Vega, the situation is desperate. We ask you to withdraw your fleet to protect the core worlds. Rhea's eyes narrowed. Sir, pulling back means giving up the outer colonies to the Kreth, Halden sighed. We cannot defend everywhere. We must protect the heart of humanity. The transmission ended, leaving the bridge in tense silence. Word spread quickly. The decision divided people everywhere. In a refugee camp on a shattered moon, Mira confronted a soldier. How can you leave the others behind? They need help. The soldier looked away. Orders are orders. We can't risk losing everything. Mira's voice broke. They're not just orders, they're people. The soldier's expression softened, but he said nothing. Back on the Odyssey, Rhea made a decision. We won't abandon our people. Soren nodded. We'll fight to hold what we can. Their plan was risky. To send small strike teams behind enemy lines, to disrupt the Kreth supply routes, and to rally the scattered human forces. The first mission was chaos. Commander Lyra's squad slipped through asteroid fields to attack a Kreth fuel depot. Move fast and don't get caught, Lyra whispered over comms. But the Kreth were waiting. Alarms blared as the team's position was exposed. Ambush! Lyra shouted. Gunfire echoed in the dark tunnels. Several soldiers fell, but the squad pushed forward, planting explosives on fuel tanks. Fire in the hole! Lyra yelled. The depot exploded in a fireball, lighting the sky even in the deep shadows of space. On the Odyssey, Rhea watched the operation unfold. We bought some time, she said, but at what cost? Soren asked. Rhea looked out at the stars. War never comes without cost. Months passed. The Kreth tightened their grip. The Galactic Council's help grew weaker. At last, Rhea called a meeting with her senior officers. We've reached the breaking point, she said. If we don't act now, humanity will fall. Lieutenant Soren frowned. What do you suggest? Rhea's voice was steady. We need a new kind of weapon. Something that can turn the tide. The room grew silent. We're talking about crossing lines the Council forbids, Rhea added. But I don't see another choice. A tense pause followed. Then, Chief Engineer Alara spoke up. If you're serious, Captain, we'll make it work. That night, Rhea stood alone on the observation deck, looking at the fragile blue planet they called home. She whispered, We will survive. We must. But in the silence, a cold thought crept in. Survival might cost everything they believed in. The hidden asteroid base was cold and dark. Deep inside, a small team of engineers and scientists worked without rest. The walls hummed with machines that glowed faint blue, casting long shadows. Chief Engineer Alara moved through the lab, checking data on her tablet. We're almost ready, she told Captain Vega. But this weapon, it's unlike anything we've built. Rhea nodded, her face serious. If it works, it will change everything. Alara paused, looking around the room filled with strange devices and strange energy fields. Project Eclipse isn't just a bomb. It's a silent strike. It can wipe out entire planets without warning, Rhea frowned. Silent strike? Alara tapped her screen. It targets a planet's biosphere directly. Life ends in minutes, but it leaves little to no debris. The Kreth won't know what hit them until it's too late. A heavy silence fell. Rhea finally spoke, her voice low. The Council banned this kind of weapon for a reason. Alara looked at her. Yes, it's dangerous. But so are the Kreth. If we don't use it, humanity will die. Later, in the war room, Rhea stood before her officers. The holomap showed the locations of Kreth fleets and human colonies. This weapon is our last chance, Rhea said. We use it once, and the Kreth will think twice before attacking. Lieutenant Soren's face was grave. And if they find out it was us? Rhea's eyes hardened. Then they'll know humanity won't be pushed anymore. Commander Lyra, her second in command, raised a question. Are we ready to cross that line? Rhea's voice was firm. We have no choice. The team worked day and night. Alara and her engineers tested the weapon systems, running simulations and fixing problems as they arose. One night, Alara found something troubling in the data. Captain, the energy output is higher than expected. If we miscalculate, the weapon could damage nearby star systems. Rhea's eyes narrowed. Can we control it? Alara nodded slowly. Yes, but only if we execute perfectly. Meanwhile, word of the secret weapon leaked. The Galactic Council was furious. A message came through, stern and cold. Captain Vega, cease development immediately. This weapon violates all agreements. Failure to comply will bring sanctions. Rhea read the message aloud. They want U.S. to stand down, but we're already too deep. Soren leaned forward. We risk everything if we continue. Rhea shook her head. We risk everything if we don't. The day of the first test arrived. The Odyssey flew silently toward a remote Kreth mining colony. In the control room, the crew held their breath. As Alara activated the weapon, energy level stable, Ilara reported. Firing in 3, 2, 1. A quiet pulse shot through space. Minutes passed in tense silence. Then, the holoscreen showed the colony's surface going dark. No explosions, no debris. Just life fading away. Rhea let out a slow breath. It worked, but the victory was short-lived. A new transmission appeared from the Kreth. Zalkor's face filled the screen, cold and angry. You dare use Forbidden's weapons, you will pay. Rhea met his glare. We will not stop until you do. The Kreth fleet began moving faster, more aggressively. The war was far from over. In the quiet after the storm, Rhea stood alone again, staring at the stars. This weapon may save us, she whispered, but it could also doom everything. Ilara joined her. We did what we had to do. Rhea nodded, but her eyes were troubled. The Kreth fleet had never been so quiet. For days their ships moved slowly through space, silent and cautious. On the bridge of the Odyssey, Captain Rhea Vega watched the sensors closely. They're afraid, Lieutenant Soren said. They don't know what hit that colony. Rhea nodded. Project Eclipse changed everything. Now we have the advantage. The crew worked fast. Human ships moved like shadows, striking key Kreth targets, shipyards, fuel depots, communication arrays. Each attack was precise, leaving the enemy confused and off balance. Commander Lyra reported from the comms console. All units report successful strikes. The Kreth are scrambling to regroup. Rhea smiled briefly. Good, we keep the pressure on, no mistakes. On a remote space station, the Kreth commanders gathered. Zalkor's face was hard. Our worlds burn, our fleets scatter, we must fight back. One general said, their weapon is deadly, but we can adapt. Zalkor's eyes flickered. Then we end this war quickly before they grow stronger. Back on the Odyssey, Rhea planned. The next move. We target their main shipyard at Chronos 7, she said. If we destroy it, they can't build new ships, Soren frowned. It's heavily guarded. Then we use stealth and speed, Rhea replied. The mission was dangerous. A small strike team flew through a field of debris toward Chronos 7. Keep your shields down to avoid detection, Rhea ordered over COMM stat as they approached. Alarms blared on the station. The Kreth had spotted them. Engage weapons. The Kreth commander shouted. The team dodged plasma fire and minefields, pushing forward. Plant charges on the main dock. Commander Lyra shouted. Minutes later, explosives ignited. The station shook violently. Mission complete. Pull out, Lyra ordered. The team raced away as the station exploded in a ball of fire. Back on the Odyssey, the crew cheered. We're turning the tables, Rhea said. But victory felt fragile. Suddenly, a warning sounded. Incoming Kreth reinforcements. The sensors reported. SOR's N single quotes S face tightened. They're not done yet. Rhea stared at the approaching fleet. Then neither are we. In the weeks that followed, the war grew fiercer. The Kreth adapted, sending faster ships and new tactics. Humanity had learned too. The Odyssey and its fleet became symbols of hope and resistance. One night, as Rhea stood on the observation deck, Soren joined her. We've made them scared. he said. Rhea nodded. But this is only the beginning. We fight for all humans. Soren said quietly, and for a future, Rhea added. They looked out at the stars, knowing the battle was far from over, but for the first time, hope burned bright. The Kreth war room was tense and crowded. Leaders from every sector gathered around a large table, their faces drawn and serious. The endless attacks from human forces had taken a heavy toll. Zalkor slammed his fist on the table. Our fleets are broken, our people suffer. We must find a way to end this war. A younger commander looked doubtful. The humans are stronger than we thought. Their secret weapon has changed everything. We cannot keep losing like this, Zalkor said, his voice low but fierce. If we do, our civilization will fall. Another council member spoke. Maybe it is time to talk, to seek peace. Zalkor glared. Peace? After what they did to us? After their attacks? But if we keep fighting, we lose everything, the council member replied. Zalkor stared silently, then nodded slowly. Arrange a meeting, but I want guarantees. We will not be fooled. On the human side, Captain Rhea Vega received the Kova. Unexpected message. Captain, Lieutenant Soren said. Reading the encrypted transmission, the Kreth want to negotiate. Rhea's eyes narrowed. After all the death they caused? Why now? We don't know, Soren admitted. But it could be a chance to end this. Rhea paced the bridge. If it's a trap, we'll be ready. If it's real, maybe it's what we need. The meeting took place on a neutral space station, orbiting a dead star. Rhea arrived alone, stepping into a large chamber. Across from her stood Zalkor, his cold eyes watching every move. Captain Vega, he said, voice steady. We come with a proposal. Rhea folded her arms. I'm listening. Zalkor explained. Our people cannot survive this war. We offer a ceasefire. Talks of peace. But you must stop using your secret weapon. Rhea's heart pounded. The secret weapon was humanity's only hope. And what if we refuse? She asked. Then we continue to fight until one of us is destroyed, Zalkor said. The tension in the room was thick. Rhea thought of the millions of lives lost, the worlds burned. She remembered her crew, her people fighting for survival. Peace is what we want, Rhea finally said. But we cannot abandon our defense. Zalkor nodded slowly. Then we have a fragile truce. We send observers to monitor each other's forces. Rhea agreed, but inside she knew trust would be hard to come by. Back on the Odyssey, the crew prepared for uneasy peace. Soren looked at Rhea. Do you think they mean it? She shook her head. Warriors rarely give up so easily. But we'll take every chance to protect humanity. Days passed in tense silence. Then suddenly, Kreth ships attacked a human convoy. Soren cursed. They broke the truce. Rhea's eyes flashed with anger. Then the war continues. In the shadows of space, the war went on, but now with even more danger. Both sides knew the cost of failure, but neither would back down. And somewhere, deep inside, both leaders wondered if peace was ever truly possible. The Kreth homeworld, Cathar, was silent. Its once vibrant cities lay dark beneath thick clouds. Only the stars watched, cold and distant. As human ships gathered in orbit. Captain Rhea Vega stood on the bridge of the Odyssey, eyes fixed on the massive planet below. This is it, she said softly. The final strike. Lieutenant Soren checked the ship's systems. Project Eclipse is ready. Once we launch, there's no turning back. Rhea nodded. We owe it to those we lost. To end this. On the Kreth command ship, Zalkor paced the room, his face hard and pale. The war had crushed his people, but they refused to surrender. They will pay for what they've done, he growled. Prepare defenses. We will fight until the last breath. Back on the Odyssey, the silence was thick. Ilara stood at the weapons. Controls, fingers steady despite the weight of the moment. Firing in 10, 9, 8. The countdown echoed through the ship. 7, 6. Outside, the stars seemed to hold their breath. 5, 4. Rhea gripped the railing. 3, 2, 1. A quiet pulse shot from the Odyssey, invisible, but deadly. Minutes passed, tense and silent. Then the holoscreens lit up. Cathar's surface changed. Oceans boiled, skies darkened, forests withered. Life ended in minutes. On the Kreth command ship, chaos erupted, shields failing. Life support critical. A voice shouted. Zalkor's eyes widened. No, this cannot be. He looked at his council. We are finished. Back on the Odyssey, the crew watched in silence. Rhea whispered, "It's over." Soren turned to her, voice heavy. We saved humanity, but at what cost? Rhea looked at the stars again. Sometimes to protect the future, we must make hard choices. The galaxy soon learned of the Kreth's end. Humans celebrated, but mourned the loss of life on both sides. In the aftermath, the Galactic Council called a meeting. A voice declared, humanity has risen as a power no one can ignore. But far away, unknown ships moved silently toward human space. Rhea stood on the observation deck, sensing a new danger. War may be over, she said quietly, but the galaxy is not safe. The war was over, but the galaxy felt quieter, almost too quiet. Captain Rhea Vega stood on the deck of the Odyssey, staring at the stars. The Kreth threat was gone, their homeworld destroyed by Project Eclipse. Yet, peace did not bring comfort. Lieutenant Soren joined her, voice soft. It's strange. Victory feels empty. Rhea nodded. We saved humanity, yes. But the cost? Millions lost on both sides. The weight of that will never leave me. Back on Earth, the Galactic Council met in urgent session. The leaders from many worlds debated the future. Counselor Arlen stood, voice strong. Humanity has proven its strength. We must unite and rebuild. But Counselor Vex warned, we must be cautious. The galaxy watches. Our use of Project Eclipse terrifies many. Arlen shot back. Terrified or not, we must defend ourselves. If we show weakness, others will try to destroy us. Meanwhile, in the shadowed corners of space, new ships appeared. Silent, fast and unknown. On the Odyssey, the sensors picked up strange signals. Captain, Soren said, brows furrowed. There are ships approaching from beyond known space. No IDs. Rhea's eyes narrowed. Scan again. We need to know if they're friend or foe. Days passed with no clear answer. The new ships remained distant, watching. In the crew quarters, Mira whispered to a friend, "Is this the calm before the storm?" Her friend shook her head. "I don't know, but I feel it too." One night, the Odyssey received a cryptic message. A voice, distorted and strange, said, "Humans have destroyed one threat. Another rises. Prepare." The transmission ended, leaving a cold silence. Rhea gathered her officers. "We may have won the war with the Kreth," she said, "but a new danger looms. We must be ready." Soren asked, "What do you think they want?" Rhea looked out at the stars, her voice steady. To survive. And to fight if they must. The galaxy had changed forever. The war had pushed humans to the edge and beyond. But in the shadows, new enemies waited. And Captain Vega knew one thing for sure. The moment humans left the dark forever was only the beginning.